Being alone isn't just about solitude. It's about discovering a fortress of peace that many never find. Every interaction, every choice, and every moment carries energy. Some lift us up, and some weigh us down. Understanding this is crucial because clinging to what no longer serves us can cloud our path to new beginnings. Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson about the art of detachment. It's not merely about letting go, it's about opening ourselves to the fresh air of possibilities. When we release the burdens of the past, we make space for the new, allowing our lives to align more closely with our true potential. Today, we delve deep into how embracing solitude can be your greatest strategy for personal renewal and freedom. Join me as we explore not just the philosophy of letting go, but how implementing these Stoic principles can transform the ordinary into extraordinary. We'll unpack the tools you need to clear out the old and welcome the new, promising a journey of self-discovery that could change the way you think about every relationship and situation in your life. Stay tuned as we learn to navigate life's challenges, not just with resilience, but with a profound sense of peace and purpose. Before we start, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It helps us a lot and costs nothing to you. Let's go. Number 1. Take time apart. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, often spoke about the importance of retreating into oneself. By withdrawing from the noise around us, we're able to listen more closely to our inner voice. This isn't about isolation, but about finding clarity. In these quiet moments, we can reflect on our values, our actions, and our interactions. This process of taking time apart also allows us to question our impulses and desires. Stoics teach us to distinguish between what we can control and what we can't. In solitude, we can examine our reactions and emotions, stripping them down to understand their origins. Why do we feel what we feel? How much of our discontent is shaped by external circumstances versus our own internal dialogue? Taking time apart helps us to recharge. Just as we allow our bodies to rest after physical exertion, our minds too need rest from the constant bombardment of stimuli and social interactions. It's in these moments of detachment that we often find bursts of insight and creativity, our minds weaving together new ideas and solutions that seemed elusive in the hustle of everyday life. Number 2. Differentiating between need and want. Epictetus urged us to keep our desires in check to maintain freedom and tranquility. He advocated for a life where we are not slaves to our desires. By asking ourselves whether something is a need or a want, we engage in a practice of self-reflection that helps us stay aligned with our core values. This doesn't mean denying all our wants, but it involves making conscious choices that ensure our wants don't overshadow our needs. Practicing this distinction helps reduce the clutter in our lives, not just physically, but also mentally. When we chase fewer wants, we often find more space, time, and energy for the things that genuinely matter. It leads to a simpler, more focused life where satisfaction doesn't come from the next purchase or acquisition, but from a deep appreciation for what we already have. By appreciating what we have and recognizing the difference between surplus and necessity, we cultivate a state of contentment that is impervious to the ebb and flow of external circumstances. We become more resilient, less reactive, and more present in our daily lives. Number 3. Be strictly rational. In the Stoic philosophy, being rational means examining facts before reacting, evaluating the true nature of each situation, and making decisions based on sound reasoning rather than impulsive feelings. Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher, often discussed the importance of controlling one's reactions to external events. He believed that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond, and that's where rational thinking comes in. By being strictly rational, we challenge ourselves to look beyond the immediate emotional responses. For example, if a relationship or job isn't bringing you the satisfaction or results you hoped for, a Stoic approach would be to step back and analyze why. What are the tangible benefits versus the drawbacks? Is there a mismatch between your core values and what the situation is offering? By answering these questions through rational analysis, you can make more informed choices about whether to persevere, adjust your approach, or let go. Rational thinking helps us manage our expectations. Often we become upset not because of the situation itself, but because it didn't meet our preconceived expectations. By setting realistic expectations based on rational assessments, we can avoid many of life's disappointments and frustrations. Number 4, acceptance of change. Change surrounds us constantly. Seasons shift, relationships evolve, and careers transition. The Stoics understood that resisting these natural progressions can lead to unnecessary pain and suffering. Instead, they advocate for embracing change, seeing it as an opportunity for personal growth and renewed perspective. When we talk about accepting change, we're delving into the Stoic practice of focusing only on what we can control. This includes our thoughts, our behaviors, and our responses to the changes happening around us. For instance, you might not be able to prevent a company restructuring that affects your job, but you can control how you respond to it, whether that means seeking new opportunities or adapting your skills to fit new roles. This shift in focus from external circumstances to internal responses is at the heart of Stoic resilience. By reducing our attachments to things that are inherently transient, like our current job, status, or even certain types of relationships, we safeguard our inner peace from the upheaval of external changes. This doesn't mean we don't care about these aspects of our lives, but rather that we hold them lightly, ready to adapt as circumstances evolve. This mindset helps us live more fully in the present, appreciating each moment and connection for what it is now, not what it used to be or what we fear it might become. Number 5, focus on your essential needs. This approach entails zeroing in on what is truly necessary for your well-being and fulfillment, such as your mental and physical health and your most significant relationships. By doing this, you're not just simplifying your life, you're aligning it more closely with your core values, which is a fundamental Stoic goal. For mental health, this could involve practices like meditation, regular self-reflection, and engaging in meaningful activities that nurture a sense of purpose. For physical health, it might mean choosing activities and diets that not only keep you fit but also keep you feeling balanced and energized. And when it comes to relationships, focusing on essential needs means investing time and energy into connections that are supportive, enriching, and reciprocal. When you clear the clutter of less critical needs, you're not just making room physically or financially, you're making space mentally and emotionally. This decluttering allows for a clearer vision of what is genuinely important. It helps you make decisions more aligned with your personal philosophy and lifestyle goals. For instance, if you realize that quality time with family is an essential need, you might decide to work fewer overtime hours despite the potential extra income, because the non-material benefit of family time contributes more significantly to your overall life satisfaction. Number 6, recognition of impermanence. Understanding that nothing is permanent can radically change how we approach our daily lives. For instance, when we experience moments of joy, recognizing their impermanence allows us to appreciate them more deeply without the pressure of trying to make them last forever. Conversely, when we encounter difficulties or pain, the same knowledge can offer comfort and perspective, reminding us that these too shall pass. This practice of recognizing impermanence also aids in the process of detachment. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, does not mean disengaging from the world or our responsibilities. Rather, it involves understanding that our control is limited to our own actions and reactions, not the external outcomes or the behavior of others. This awareness helps us maintain our equilibrium in the face of life's inevitable changes and losses. Embracing impermanence cultivates resilience. When we accept that change is the only constant, we are less likely to be overwhelmed by it. Instead, we can adapt more quickly, moving forward with a clear mind and an open heart. It teaches us to build our inner resources, like our character and virtue, rather than over-investing in external achievements that could fade or disappear. Number 7. Seeking new experiences. Stepping out of your comfort zone can be daunting but incredibly rewarding. Each new skill you learn, each new person you meet, enriches your life in ways that staying within the familiar never could. This process of seeking and embracing new experiences helps to reshape how we view our problems and our attachments. When you're exposed to different ways of living and thinking, your own issues might not seem so insurmountable. Perhaps a problem you thought was unique to you is a common struggle, or maybe you discover new solutions that you hadn't considered before. This broader viewpoint can lead to a significant reduction in the stress and anxiety associated with clinging too tightly to the familiar. Engaging in new experiences actively combats the stagnation that can come from too much routine. It invigorates the mind and spirit, injecting a sense of adventure and curiosity into life. Stoicism encourages us not to fear the unknown, but to approach it with courage and a willingness to learn. Each new experience is a chance to test ourselves, to practice virtues like courage, temperance, and wisdom in real time. Number 8. Exercise of daily reflection. Imagine taking a few minutes at the end of each day to think back on your actions, thoughts, and feelings. This can be done in a variety of ways, depending on what resonates most with you. Some find meditation helpful, a quiet, introspective time to turn the mind inward and critically assess one's thoughts and behaviors. Others might prefer journaling, writing down what happened throughout the day, how they felt, and how they responded to various situations. This written record can be incredibly valuable as it provides a tangible way to track progress over time. Stoic reflection is about more than just personal efficiency or success. It's about moral and ethical growth. It keeps you aligned with your true path by shedding the non-essential, the trivial distractions or petty concerns that can so often take up mental space. It helps you focus on what truly matters, your values, your character, and your impact on the world around you. This kind of reflection fosters a profound sense of self-awareness and accountability. It's a daily reminder that your path is yours to shape. As Epictetus once said, no person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. Reflecting daily helps you to not only understand and accept your limitations, but also to recognize and utilize your strengths more effectively. Number 9. Identification of unhealthy attachments. Understanding what constitutes an unhealthy attachment is the first step toward liberating oneself. These attachments can come in many forms: relationships that have become toxic, habits that harm rather than help us, aspirations that lead to undue stress, or even material possessions that burden rather than free us. Often these attachments persist simply because they are familiar. They are known quantities in our lives, and even when detrimental, they can be comforting in their predictability. To identify these unhealthy attachments, we must first be willing to look honestly and critically at our lives. This might involve reflecting on which aspects of your life cause you anxiety or sadness, which relationships consistently leave you feeling drained rather than energized, or what personal ambitions cause you more stress than fulfillment. It's about asking yourself tough questions. Does this enhance my life and align with my values? Is the emotional or physical cost worth the benefit I'm receiving? Am I holding on to this simply because I'm used to it? Once we acknowledge these unhealthy attachments, Stoicism provides a framework for dealing with them effectively, focusing on the principle of not letting external forces disturb our inner peace. This involves a rational evaluation of each attachment's true worth and the role it plays in our lives. By adopting a more detached perspective, we can see the difference between what we are clinging to out of habit and what genuinely contributes to our well-being and growth. Letting go of these attachments does not happen overnight. It requires practice, patience, and perseverance. It may involve setting new boundaries in relationships, changing long-standing behavioral patterns, or reassessing life goals. Each step in this process is an exercise in Stoic virtue, building your strength of character and your ability to act according to reason rather than impulse. Number 10. Set limits on your desires. This doesn't mean abandoning all ambition or aspirations. Rather, it's about discerning what truly matters and directing our efforts toward those pursuits. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of focusing on what is within our control, and our desires are no exception. When we set limits on our desires, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of craving and consumption. We learn to appreciate the abundance that surrounds us, the love of friends and family, the beauty of nature, the simple pleasures of everyday life, rather than fixating on what we lack. This shift in perspective aligns with Stoic teachings on gratitude and acceptance, reminding us to find joy in the present moment rather than constantly striving for more. Setting limits on our desires fosters a sense of inner peace and tranquility. Instead of being driven by an insatiable hunger for external validation or material possessions, we cultivate a sense of self-sufficiency and resilience. This doesn't mean rejecting all forms of pleasure or enjoyment. Rather, it's about choosing wisely and recognizing that true happiness comes from within, not from external sources. Number 11. Exploration of creativity. Engaging in creative activities, whether it's painting, writing, music, or any other form of artistic expression, serves as a meaningful escape from the mundane and often stressful routines of daily life. When you immerse yourself in creative work, you shift your focus from external concerns and pressures, tapping into a flow state where time and stress seem to melt away. This state, often referred to as being in the zone, aligns closely with the Stoic practice of present-mindedness, where the mind is fully engaged and attuned to the task at hand, not distracted by past regrets or future anxieties. Creativity also fosters personal growth by prompting you to explore and articulate your thoughts, feelings, and ideas in ways that are often unconventional, yet profoundly sincere. This exploration is a journey into the self, revealing desires, fears, and ambitions that might be buried under the surface of everyday consciousness. In this way, creativity acts as a tool for self-discovery, helping you understand who you are and who you might become. It's a practice that echoes the Stoic endeavor to know oneself truly and deeply, The process of creating something new, of bringing an idea to life, is incredibly empowering. It reinforces a sense of competence and autonomy, attributes highly valued in Stoic philosophy. Each creative act, no matter how small or personal, is a reaffirmation of one's ability to influence the world around them. In a broader sense, engaging in creativity is an exercise in creating your reality, choosing and shaping your environment in accordance with your inner vision. Number 12. Love and accept the facts. The Stoic approach teaches us that our frustration often arises not from the facts themselves, but from our expectations and desires that things be different. For instance, we might wish for perpetual good health, constant happiness, or unending success. But life's inherent nature is change and unpredictability. By accepting the reality of these changes and the fact that many outcomes are beyond our control, we free ourselves from a great deal of anxiety and disappointment. This acceptance doesn't signify resignation or passivity. Rather, it's a proactive affirmation of our ability to adapt and respond constructively. Stoics like Epictetus emphasize that while we cannot control external events, we have complete authority over our attitudes and responses. This is where our true power lies. Embracing this aspect of Stoicism helps us distinguish between what is within our control and what is not, directing our energy and focus toward the former. By doing so, we are not swept away by the currents of external circumstances, but can navigate our lives with deliberate and mindful choices. Loving and accepting the facts involves a deep understanding that life's challenges are opportunities for growth and testing our virtues. Each difficult situation, each unchangeable fact of our existence, is a chance to practice patience, resilience, courage, and other Stoic virtues. These challenges are not obstacles to our happiness, but integral parts of a fulfilling life that teach us about our capacities and strengths. Number 13. Focus on internal control. By emphasizing what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses, we empower ourselves in a world where much is unpredictable and beyond our direct influence. Consider the daily trials we face, whether they be traffic jams, difficult co-workers, or global news. While we can't control these external events, we can absolutely control our reactions to them. This doesn't mean suppressing our emotions or pretending not to be affected. Rather, it involves a conscious decision to respond in ways that align with our values and long-term goals. The practice of focusing on internal control helps us build resilience. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them with courage and composure. When we focus on our internal responses, we develop a kind of mental and emotional muscle memory. Just as a dancer practices steps until they can perform under the brightest lights, we can practice calm, rational responses until they become our go-to even in the face of adversity. This is resilience, the ability to bounce back quickly from setbacks, not because we avoid feeling pain or disappointment, but because we know how to process these emotions constructively. This focus shifts our locus of control internally, which is incredibly liberating. It means our happiness is not held hostage by the whims of fate or the actions of others. Instead, our emotional state is something we can manage and cultivate through our own efforts. This is not just a theory, but a practical, daily practice. It involves regular self-reflection, perhaps through journaling or meditation, where we examine our thoughts and behaviors, praising ourselves for when we live up to our ideals and gently correcting course when we do not. Number 14. Confronting fears. Stoicism doesn't just advise us to endure fears passively, it actively encourages us to face them head-on. This approach recognizes that fears often chain us to unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or unfulfilling life paths. By acknowledging and confronting these fears, whether they stem from change, failure, or rejection, we can start to disentangle ourselves from these constraints and embrace a more liberated and courageous existence. Facing our fears is crucial because fear can be a powerful barrier to growth. It can prevent us from making necessary changes or taking chances that could lead to significant personal development. For example, the fear of failure might stop someone from pursuing a new career path or returning to school. Similarly, fear of rejection might prevent someone from expressing their feelings or forming close relationships. These fears, while protective in nature, often limit our potential and keep us stuck in comfortable but ultimately unsatisfying situations. Stoic philosophy teaches us to examine our fears rationally and objectively. By questioning the validity and origins of our fears, we can often see that they are not as insurmountable or as tied to reality as we might initially think. Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the importance of rational examination of one's thoughts and feelings, suggesting that through reason, we can diminish the power that fear has over us. Number 15. Developing resilience to adversities. Resilience is essentially about our ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges. It's about recovering from losses, whether they are personal, professional, or emotional, and finding a way to move forward with greater strength and insight. But resilience from a Stoic viewpoint goes even deeper. It involves seeing each adversity as a chance to strengthen our character and detach from negative spirals that might otherwise consume us. Stoicism teaches us to anticipate and accept that life will bring difficulties. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote about preparing for life's challenges each morning, reminding himself that he might encounter ingratitude, hostility, dishonesty, and selfishness. This mental preparation, known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, is a Stoic exercise that helps build resilience by mentally rehearsing one's responses to potential challenges. Building resilience also means maintaining a focus on what we can control, our actions, our responses, our values, and letting go of what we cannot. This approach helps us remain centered and calm, regardless of external circumstances. It fosters a sense of inner peace that is not easily disturbed by the ups and downs of life. Number 16. Cultivating healthy relationships. In the Stoic view, healthy relationships are characterized by honesty, support, and mutual benefit. This means each person in the relationship strives not only to be truthful and open in their communications, but also to support the other's well-being and growth. Such relationships are built on the foundation of virtue and are aligned with the Stoic commitment to living ethically and justly. Reflecting on your relationships involves examining whether these interactions enhance your life and align with your values. Are your relationships sources of mutual joy and growth? Do they challenge you in positive ways and support your personal and moral development? These are crucial questions because Stoicism teaches us that our environment, including the people we surround ourselves with, can influence our character and habits. For Stoics, it's important to be selective about whom we spend our time with, not out of elitism, but out of a recognition that we are, to some extent, shaped by our associates. Seneca advised fostering friendships that are based on mutual improvement. Each person should both teach and learn, give and receive. This reciprocity ensures that the relationship contributes positively to the lives of everyone involved. Number 17. Reflection on legacy. Thinking about your legacy involves more than contemplating what you'll leave behind after you're gone. It's about how you live your life day to day. What principles guide your actions? How do you affect the people around you? Are your professional endeavors and personal relationships contributing to the betterment of your community? These questions align with the Stoic emphasis on living according to nature and reason, promoting not only personal integrity, but also social welfare. In practical terms, reflecting on your legacy means evaluating your attachments and priorities. Stoicism doesn't advocate for a life devoid of attachments, but urges us to form attachments that are rational and constructive. Are the things you're pursuing, be they career goals, material possessions, or even relationships, contributing to the kind of legacy you want to leave? If not, it may be time to detach from those elements that do not serve this higher purpose. This detachment is not a process of renunciation, but of realignment. It involves shifting focus from transient, material gains to lasting, ethical contributions. By concentrating on actions that align with your core values, you not only ensure that your life is lived with integrity, but you also enhance your ability to leave a positive, meaningful impact. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the profound lessons Stoicism has to offer. If you're interested in delving deeper into how these practices can transform your life, please watch the suggested video appearing on your screen. And since you've made it to the end, share with us your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. See you soon.